All right. What about molecular solids? So if you have a molecular compound, um, most molecular compounds will not dissociate in water. They will not separate in water. They'll just remain intact. The molecule will be surrounded by water molecules. There are exceptions. The most common exceptions that you'll encounter are known as acids and bases. So strong acids in particular, the only molecular compounds that are completely ionized when you put them in water are the 6 strong acids. So HCl, okay, if you put it in water, hydrogen chloride is a gas made up of molecules, but if you put it in water, it will break up into H plus and chloride ions. So one thing all of these have in common is they break up into H plus and something else. Okay, so these are molecular acids. So this particular group of acids, these six acids are what we call strong acids. They're essentially 100% ionized in water. So if you have HCl, you're not going to get any HCl molecules in water. Okay? If you put HCl molecule in water, it's going to split up right away into H plus and chloride. What actually happens is your H plus is going to attach itself to a water molecule. So if you have an H plus from the HCl, that would give you what's called a hydronium ion. But so that's generally just written as H plus aqueous. Okay? So if you have a 0.5 molar solution of HCl, okay, then that 0.5, you're going to lose all of that 0.5 moles of HCl. You're going to get 0.5 moles per liter of H plus and 0.5 moles per liter of chloride. And the HCl itself, you have pretty much none left. Okay, so if you put HCl in water, all of that HCl is going to be gone. It's going to split up into H plus and chloride ions. If I were to ask you what's the concentration of HCl, okay, what's the concentration of HCl molecules in a 1 molar HCl solution, then you say it's going to be 0 because it's not going to be there anymore. Okay, so when we use brackets around symbols, we usually write those around symbols for molecules or ions that are in solution. Okay. If you have the formula of a salt, for example, a cluster of ions, generally those concentrations are going to be 0. Okay. Weak acids and bases are molecular solids that are slightly ionized. Okay, they're slightly ionized. That means at any given instant, only a very small fraction of these molecules are dissociated, are broken up in water. So for example, HNO2 is an example of a weak acid. Okay, so this is 0.5 molar HNO2. If you have a 0.5 molar solution of HNO2, part of it at any given instant, a very small part of it will be broken up into H plus and NO2 minus. But these amounts are trace amounts. Okay, there's small amounts. Your HNO2 molecules, the concentration of your HNO2 molecule will still be pretty much 0.5 moles per liter. Okay, so HNO2 is what we would call a weak acid. So what's the difference between a strong acid and a weak acid? Strong acid is 100% ionized. At any given instant, if you can take a snapshot of your solution, there are no acid molecules, hardly any acid molecules there. They're all broken up into ions. Okay? And how do we know if an acid is strong or weak? We just have to memorize the 6 strong ones. All the other acids are weak. Okay, so those are 6 that you have to memorize. Now, most other molecular compounds, like I said, besides the strong acids, are weakly ionized. Okay, so most other molecular compounds are generally not ionized, but they're weak. Like I said, acids and bases, they're partially ionized. And the reason for that is because they actually react with water molecules. Okay, so like I said, this H plus actually attaches itself to a water molecule. So in fact, the better way to represent this reaction is to say your HNO2 will interact with a water molecule to give you H3O plus. This is what we call H plus aqueous. Okay, plus NO2 minus. And usually when we represent these ionization reactions, if it's partially ionized, we use a double-headed arrow. Okay, one going forward and one going reverse to indicate that we're dealing with a weak acid. Okay, so here's a clicker question. If you have a 0.5 molar acetic acid solution, which of the following species has a concentration closest to 0.5 moles per liter? Is it H plus? Is it acetate? Or is it HC2H3O2, acetic acid? So the thing you have to think about is acetic acid a strong acid or a weak acid? Is it strong or weak? Weak? How do you know it's weak? It's not one of the six. Okay, so if it's a weak acid, which of these will have a concentration closest to 0.5 moles per liter? What you're going to have here is HC2H3O2. It's going to ionize in water. And it's going to be mostly acetic acid, okay? Only a very small fraction of these molecules will be broken up in water. Acetic acid is a weak acid. Bases, and the only one that you'll commonly encounter in freshman chemistry is ammonia, okay? Molecular compounds that can react with water to give you hydroxide ions are called bases. So NH3 plus water, what it actually does is you have NH3. This is the structure of ammonia. It's got a lone pair. So if it sees a water molecule nearby, okay, it can attract the hydrogen. So an H plus from a water molecule can jump to the ammonia molecule, and it will give you ammonium ion, and then what's left behind? That's your hydroxide ion. Okay. Now, at any given so we say ammonia, the ammonia molecule has a tendency to ionize in water. It has a tendency to pull a proton. H plus is a proton, okay? It's just hydrogen with no electrons, so it's just a proton. So it has a tendency to pull a proton from a water molecule to form ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. Note the main differences in the name here. This is ammonium ion. This is ammonia molecule. NH3 is ammonia, and H4 plus is ammonia. So because of this, ammonia we say is a base. But this extent of, you notice I'm drawing here to a double-headed arrow. What does that double-headed arrow indicate? It's only partially ionized. At any given instant, only a very small fraction of the ammonia molecules have actually done it. Now, this is a reversible process. Your protons can actually hop from one molecule to another in water. So it's not going to be the same ammonia molecules that have picked up protons in water at any given instant. Okay, so if you imagine gazillions of these ammonia molecules and water molecules, you can imagine H plus hopping from one molecule to another to give you, at any given instant, only a small fraction of those ammonia molecules have picked up a proton to become ammonium ions. So your ammonium ion concentration would be, and hydroxide will be negligible because this is ammonia is a weak base, but there's a certain amount of them that are formed. And so if you have a 0.1 molar solution of ammonia, it will still essentially be 0.1 molar in terms of the concentration of the molecules themselves. Okay? So let's take a look at this question right here. Which of the following has a higher total concentration of solid particles? 0.1 molar HCl or 0.1 molar HF? Higher concentration of solid particles. HCl. Why HCl? Because what happens to HCl in water? It's a strong acid. It's completely ionized. So you're going to get 0.1 moles per liter of H plus and 0.1 moles of fluoride. How much HCl would you have left? Hardly any. So the total would be approximately 0.2, right? Moles per liter. What about HF? HF also ionizes in water, but it is a weak acid. So if I have 0.1 molar of HF, it's a weak acid. So what would be my concentration? This will be approximately 0.1. And what would these amounts be? Trace amounts, small amounts. So what would be the total concentration of solid particles here? It's approximately 0.1. Okay, so it's correct answer then is HCl would have a higher concentration of solid particles.